What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Founder Academy. I am Mark, the FUT founder, and I appreciate you guys coming back to the series here. So, where have I been exactly? I've been around, so back off. No, I'm just kidding. I guess the best way of putting it is, even though generally I like to think that it's usually because of things going on in my life, it hasn't really been the case now. This is really just because I haven't been playing a whole lot of FUT. I haven't been playing a whole lot of FIFA. I'll kind of go on, I'll do the SBCs, but I haven't really been that engaged this year so far. I'm hoping that it's changed. This is Black Friday today, so that's been what kind of prompted me to want to do an impromptu video and kind of get some stuff out there. Is I did do a couple pack openings here today. There's been a lot going on in terms of the world of football, which I would love to get into. I'm probably not going to have that much time to do it, but as you guys know, I'm a massive United fan, as you can tell by the fact that we got one swatch Jadon Sancho. This is older footage here, which I'll get to all that, what you guys are watching. But, United, anybody that follows me on Twitter knows that I'm a massive United fan. I sit there ranting and raving about it. And they finally got rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which I'm really happy about. I just want to say, no offense to the guy, I'm not the type to jump down his throat for not being a better manager. I just don't think he should have ever been in a place that he's managing that team. They shouldn't have. I didn't mind him being an interim guy, but the fact that they gave him a permanent placement, he should have been gone 2 years ago. He was never qualified to do that job. It was totally ridiculous. And I've said for a long time that the Glazers are just I'm a Vancouver Canuck fan, which that reference might not mean anything to you guys, but it's a National Hockey League team. Same thing. When you've got managers or owners, owners like the Glazers, the Aquilini group that own the Canucks, they're like mafia. They just insulate themselves with puppets, people that do their bidding. They don't like being in the limelight. They don't like having pressure. They don't like people criticizing them. So they just go and they cower and they hide away. And they hire people that will just be yes men to them. However, the pressure from the United faithful finally got to them, and when it comes that comes under scrutiny, that's when you see change. That's the only time that you see cowards like the Glazers ever going to make any changes, when you either threaten their pocketbook or you threaten them in a public forum where it could potentially threaten their earning power. So that's essentially what happened. They came under so much scrutiny that they had to make a change. So I am really happy they brought in a temporary, an interim manager. I can't remember his name, Ralph something, a German guy, managed Leipzig, I believe, and Hoffenheim. So I'm interested to see what they do with United in terms of creating structure around the club. I think that's really what they need. You know what? To be honest with you, if this guy ends up working out, I would be fine with him just keeping him. I have no problem with him just keeping him as a manager. I personally wanted Zidane just because I think Zidane knows how to handle really egotistical players and those really popular, I don't want to say big-headed players, like the ego players of today's day and age, but look, the players have a lot of power these days, so he knows how to kind of take those egos and is able to get results from them. He's earned their respect by being a player who performed on the pitch, and he actually has some tactical awareness. So I think he would be a good fit. But in terms of having Ralph step in as the interim, if he ends up working out, I say just keep him. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at with United. So I was really upset to see Paul Pogba get injured. Massive Paul Pogba fan, but look, he's been very flaky with it. I don't think it's a surprise that when the team is playing poorly, he ends up getting injured. So it is what it is. I'm hoping that he gets rejuvenated, because I think a guy like Pogba is so hard to replace. It's not even so much I know a lot of people jump down his throat because they just go, oh, he hasn't shown heart and he hasn't played for the badge and whatever. But the reality is, guys, this isn't Roy Keane's era. This isn't even back in the 80s and the 70s when it all just was came down to heart. You need talent. And he's one of the toughest positions to replace, which is a creative midfielder. When he's not in there, the engine is not there. They don't have a transitional play. So they need to figure that out, what they're going to do with that, because having Donny in there and having Bruno in there, they need to figure out how they're going to fit those three in there, and it's going to be very difficult. I personally would like to see Pogba and Donny kind of play more of attacking holding, if that makes any sense, and then just having Bruno sitting in front of them. I don't think you really need a pure holding midfielder. If you do, go pick up someone, because I like Matic, but he's just too old, and I think Scott McTominay and Fred. McTominay maybe. I don't think Fred has the tactical awareness in terms of positioning to know where to be. So McTominay, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think he's a good enough passer, but I think they're both serviceable. I just don't think they've got the room for either of them to fit in. You really need a full 11 in order to, get the most out of that. There's too much talent going to waste to just have it be wasted by having some scrub playing in the midfield, completely ruining everything for everybody. It's too vital a position. Anyway, that's my take on United, where they are. I usually don't talk too much world football, but I would love to know what you guys think. Where are you at? What team do you guys follow? And if you guys want to hear more of my opinions on it, I would have a million opinions on world football, so I love chatting about it. I just try not to bog it down, because this is a FIFA channel. You guys are here for kind of more gaming stuff, but I'm always interested in feedback. If you guys want to mix it up by talking about other things, ask any questions you have down below. In terms of the footage, what you guys are seeing here, this is very old gameplay, and this shows you how old it is, because this is a team that I was using probably the better half of about a month ago. Couple things. One, I think overall FIFA has not evolved enough from last year. I'm not mad at EA for that. I think it's a byproduct of COVID and them not having the resources that they would have normally done. I won't go into too much detail, but I was talking with EA about potentially going back into a role with them for a really brief moment. And when they're talking about the restrictions of the studio, I know that they weren't running at full capacity, so I know they didn't have that much time to sit there dedicating to entirely new gameplay and modes and whatnot. So the game's a little bit limited. However, it still is a game that you purchase as a consumer and you expect something different. To me, it just feels like more of the same from last year, and that's okay. I thought last year was fine. I actually don't mind FIFA where it's at, but overall, I just don't think it's really been that engaging. I don't think there's enough really to do unless you're really playing super competitive FUT Champs, and the FUT Champs isn't even really competitive anymore. I guess the Division Rivals has become the most competitive division, if you would say. The FUT Champs is really the rewards are kind of garbage, but I don't know, maybe it's just I'm getting kind of fatigued with FIFA. Maybe that has to do with where I'm at in life and whatnot, but I've been playing this for the better half of this is like 14 years or whatever. They've been having Ultimate Team since 09, or actually probably can't be that many, 12, 13, somewhere in there. It's somewhere in there. But yeah, the amount of iterations that have come out with the game, it's just, I'm starting to slow down with it, just because from last year to this year, I felt like I spent so much time, especially at the end of last year, getting like that Ronaldo, getting the Messi, and I was so excited to play, and I had like a week to play with them at the very most. And the next thing you know, you're starting from scratch. And I feel a lot of exhaustion when FIFA starts up. So it takes me almost like 2 months. I know people get excited, they're the opposite. They get fatigued at the end of the year and then they get excited for the new game. I'm the opposite. I love like cool cards. I love really high-rated players because I like trading, I like building, I like putting together unique teams. I don't like just gold, boring cards that can't put a ball into the ocean like that. You're seeing a lot of missed shots. So I'm generally not playing a whole lot of FIFA. And until today, when they release, packs, I hate to say it because I did put money on the game today, but when they're releasing packs, I just, I'm opening really garbage packs because they've also nerfed SBCs. I think that's been another part of the game that's really caused me to not want to play it that much, is the content has just not been there. They haven't released anything good in terms of like cards. Like they released a special Ronaldo that nobody could afford in the first week because you just happened to win Player of the Month. And since then, there hasn't been one special card. There's not one SBC. I've got all this fodder sitting in the club. I don't want to do like base icon SBCs because you're going to end up getting a bunch of garbage. I know that I think I did like icon swaps, which I don't mind doing because those are free, but except with the exception of your time. But I've done icon swaps in the past and got Inzaghi. I know that if I did the base icon SBC, I'd end up getting like, I don't even know, not even Yari Lippman or Nakata. I would get someone like who's like John Barnes or something, right? Some guy that I probably wouldn't use. He technically could fit in the team, but I probably wouldn't use him. I never end up getting anybody good from those SBCs. Last year when they had the Icon SBC that you could grind, it was the best part of the year. That was the most fun I've ever had in FIFA, but they waited way too long to do it. I get it, they don't want people, getting like crazy teams, but if it was me, if I was in charge of the calendar, I would just release that SBC that you could just grind at the end of last year. That was the greatest SBC they've ever released. I hope they do it again this year. I would do that right after Team of the Year. Maybe like a week or two, no more than a month. Once a month is past Team of the Year, the game just dies. Give 2-3 months of just playing with, let everybody have every card in the game that they could wish for. But by that point, you're just leaving the game with a whole bunch of really cool cards and you're having a lot of fun playing them. And I get it, you're coming up against other monster teams. But look, you're using the best cards you can. So I think there's a lot of fun to be had in it. And this year, they've done the opposite. They've absolutely nerfed SBCs in terms of the packs that are available. So even if they had like the League SBCs that come out, you're getting like a premium Electrum players pack, or you're getting like a mixed players pack. So you're getting like one rare with like bronzes in it. Like it's just, none of the SBCs have been worth it. They're so obsessed with slowing people down in terms of building teams. I don't understand it. Like, we're already heading towards Christmas. You don't have to give everyone Rude Hullets and Ronaldos and Messis, but look, the guys that are going to sit there grinding the game, they're going to grind the game, and the people that don't grind the game, that just sit there playing it and want to have fun playing FIFA, you're not really rewarded for it, because you can't do SBCs. They're just garbage every day. They come out with like really lame ones, and the special cards have been really crap, right? All these promos that they've done, they came out with ones to watches, and I don't even know if the ones to watches are really getting upgraded. I think Messi's got one upgrade. I don't think Ronaldo's even got one. I got Jadon Sancho, I was really excited for. I'm hoping that under Ralph he's going to actually get more playing time and maybe get one or two. But look, those ones to watches, like, they take forever to get upgraded. And by the time they get upgraded into second or third informs, you're talking Team of the Year cards are already out, right? Like, you're probably approaching Team of the Season for most of them. So, those cards never really get their due. They're always behind the curve. Like, they're kind of a waste of a promo. Then they came out with those, I can't even remember what it was. Was it Shapeshifters or something like that? Where like they essentially nerf one of the guy's attributes and then they jack up another one. So essentially they make the guy quicker, and then all the other stats, they just kind of bump up by one or two, but they nerf one of their main ones. So Phil Foden, for example, fantastic dribbler in real life. They made his pace and his shooting good, and then they nerfed his dribbling, right? Even those flashback SBCs, like N'Golo Kante. I did the N'Golo Kante SBC. They made his pace usable. I think he's like 82 or something like that, but they nerfed his defending. Like, the whole point of having N'Golo Kante is he's got good defending. So I just don't understand what they're... Like, I know what they're doing, but it's just, I don't understand why they're doing it. They're focusing on the wrong things. They're so worried about slowing people down and having people not get really, really good cards that it's just frustrating. And it's causing me not to want to play it. I haven't played it. So a lot of that has to do with the fact that I just haven't, had desire, or like I've had a lot going on in my personal life, and other priorities have gotten in the way. But like, look, I've always been able to make time, regardless of what I've had going on in my life, to play FIFA. And I just find it very hard to justify playing it, because it's, I don't find it really that fun to play, which is crazy because, look, I think I've taken maybe 1 or 2 losses at the most, like throughout the course of the entire year so far. Every game that you guys are seeing here, I think there's 4 or 5 games in it. This is just me playing through the divisions. And look, it's Division 10, 9, 8, whatever it is. But I wasn't using a jacked up team, but I'm winning every game, and I just don't find it very rewarding. I don't find it very fun. It's just stressful and sweaty, and it's not a very fun game. I don't mind it from time to time, but I don't know. I'm having a hard time articulating it, which is really bizarre, because normally I find myself at a point where I can actually like voice my concerns really well, but there's just something about it where I just feel the game's not where it was. It's just not as fun anymore. And I don't know if it's because it's become a card collecting game and it's just not fun to play the football element of it, but there's something going on where I'm having a hard time motivating myself to get on. Short of making these videos, which I actually don't mind doing. I have some fun making the videos. There hasn't been any motivation for me to play it. It's just keeping up, because if I don't, I worry that I'm going to fall behind. So there you go. I think it might be FOMO that's even got me playing the game, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a whiny bitch. Who knows? Anyway, so that was all the gameplay. The gameplay was what it was. We ended up stomping a guy about 10-0. That second game, the footage got corrupted. I promise you guys, I swear on the Bible that I didn't do anything like sketchy there or anything like that. I was literally recording it, and the software that I use to record is called Game Capture HD, and it tends to drop out if I leave it on for too long, and I guess I must have just had it running for too long, and it just canceled out. So it didn't capture. It was recording the first half, but it corrupts the footage when it cancels out because it doesn't hard stop it. It just basically corrupts the file. So it canceled out the first part of that. So I only got the final 2 goals. That last goal that he was kind of jerking around in the back with the ball, he was trying to keep the ball away from me, and his defender ran into his keeper, and I ended up stealing it and scoring. That was the only goal that he actually kind of gave up, I guess you could say. Like every other, it was really bizarre. Every other goal was actually a legit goal. I ended up beating the guy 10-0. 10-0. It was really I haven't done that in years, man. Like, you don't get that a lot with skill-based matchmaking, but I guess because this year they're starting everyone off in Division 10 again, you end up having to come up against some of those guys. But it got really a lot better really quickly. So in Division 8, which I think is where I am right now, because I don't think I've played online since this, when that was about a month ago, probably at least a couple weeks ago. Most of those games in Division 8 were just like 2-1, 3-2. I had to really grind them out. So the opponents got much better really quickly. But what you guys are seeing here is just really top-end kind of stuff that's happened for the last couple weeks. We ended up doing the Bernardo Silva SBC, which I wasn't even super fond of Bernardo Silva. I just ended up doing it for the sake of doing it. Because he is going to upgrade. It was relatively cheap. I had some fodder in the club. We got the Kante because I thought Kante was going to be really good. And he's still a really good card, but you essentially have to put a shadow on him to get his defending rate back up. It was really stupid the way they did that card. Like, I don't get it. And then we packed this. We ended up packing Ronald Kuhlman, actually. I think this was the first time I had put in any money into the game. They had 50k packs up. It was a couple weeks ago, and ended up getting Kuhlman. So I think that was his middle version. I was shocked to see him go for 300 something K. So we ended up selling him, and I wanted to use the coins to pick up someone. I wasn't sure who I wanted to get. I originally wanted Clarence Seedorf, the mid version, which I'll get to in a sec. But I couldn't afford him. His price was starting to drop, and I was like, oh great, maybe he'll come down, because I was sitting somewhere around 600k. And I think he got down to like 870, and then he went right back up. And I call that the dreadlock tax, which is, here's the thing with Clarence Seedorf. If everyone was a huge Clarence Seedorf fan, they would probably use his baby as well. But the fact that his baby is so cheap in the middle version, which is a very good card, but it's not that good. It's not worth 1 million coins. It's not worth 900k. I've said this for a long time. I think it's the Hullet effect, which I call the dreadlock tax. Seeing the guy run around, he's got the dreadlocks flying. It looks really cool in game. It's like having the guys with the big fros or big long hair flowing, like the Ronaldinho ponytail. Like, people like seeing that on the cards, right? It's just, it kind of adds a nice aesthetic to the card. So people like that, and I think that's what's causing his price to stay really high. I know that the Prime version is going to come out, and he's going to be even cheaper than the mid version. So there you go. So we ended up selling a bunch of stuff. We packed Salah, which for some reason I didn't capture. I think I might have done that in the app, because I was opening a couple of the daily things in the app, and I think we ended up packing Salah in the app once. And then I had Memphis Depay that I'd bought. We ended up kind of breaking even with him and selling a couple other things, and I ended up getting Iker Casillas' middle version. So keepers, I'm not a huge advocate of dumping a bunch of money in keepers, but I just wanted to get somebody. And I was just like, at the time, I couldn't afford anybody that I really wanted, but I did want Iker Casillas. So I don't really necessarily encourage people to spend $300K if that's all they have on a keeper, but I do want to keep him. I plan on keeping him in the team for a while. These are the pulls that we had from today, Black Friday. We got João Cancelo there. The reason I kept that in there was a cheeky little Ferland Mendy. There's a second one that I think we ended up packing. What else did we pick up here? We ended up getting Jesus Navas. There you go. He was more of a, just because he's from the team of the week, like best of, but he was essentially like the worst card in there. There you go, 4 informs in one pack. We ended up getting an absolute ton of really good fodder. Fodder has really dropped to the floor, but you know, I ended up getting Ferland Mendy twice. I ended up packing Marcus Rashford twice. I ended up packing just, you know, Harry Kane, Ederson. Who else did we get? We got Fabinho a couple times, Thomas Muller, Tyrone Mings. Like, we got a lot of really mid cards. I like what they've done with packs in terms of making it a minimum of, like, I think it's 83 to 85. Like, you're definitely going to get something like that. I remember last year I was really pissed off because I ended up getting a 100K pack that I believe I spent money on, and I think I got an 81 was the highest rated card in there. So I like the fact that they've made a minimum rating for certain cards that you can get this year with those packs, because you end up getting a lot of this type of stuff. Ederson, even like Thiago Silva's, at least they'll go for 5 or 6K, right? Like something. But there's still a ton of discard stuff. We ended up picking up 2 of those signature players, Raul Jimenez, and we got the English guy who I was surprised he was going for 44K. And then I realized after that the only reason he was going for 44K was because you needed him for the Benzema SBC. So we ended up doing the Benzema SBC. That will be in the next video because I didn't actually record the footage of us doing it. I didn't want to sit there recording every SBC that we ever did because a lot of that is boring stuff. So I just really put together a highlight. We had so much footage. I just wanted like the best of type stuff. So you're not seeing every single pack. You're just seeing some of the better ones that we ended up packing. I put this in there because I originally was going to use the money. We were sitting at about $1 million after this because we got a bunch of stuff in those packs for the Black Friday lightning rounds, and it took us from about 6-7 to close to $1 million. So originally I was thinking here, going with this Rooney, this mid Rooney. My issue was I watched a bunch of reviews on him and it scared me. So I think the problem with that Rooney, I would still like to get him, but I think the problem with him is he doesn't really fit in anywhere. He's not really a pure striker because he doesn't have all the finesse shots. He doesn't have the agility that you need. He's really big and bulky and stiff. He's a power hitter, and he's not a good enough passer to really be a true cam. Same thing with Seedorf. I really want that Seedorf, but Seedorf is just, again, he's more of a holding midfielder, and I just think he's overpriced at $1 million. So we were close to this guy, and we ended up picking him up. I sold a couple more things in my club, and I was just like, you know what? Puskás did it for us last year. Let's bring him back to the squad. So we end up picking up Ferenc Puskás, the baby version, the mid version, a little bit slower, but other than that, better all-around overall stats, and he's a very, very good card. However, I just wanted the baby. I'm really big on agility and balance, guys. I've told you that 1,000,000 times. I'm not going to use him as a striker. It looks like a lot of people were putting him at striker because they want him for his finishing. I love him as a cam. He is my Messi for now. Eventually I'll pick up Messi and I'll use him at cam, I'm sure, at some point this year, because I always end up getting Messi. Messi's the best pure cam in the game, but his stamina is too poor on his base card for me to want to put him into the team. So I end up using Ferenc Puskás. So good. He's a phenomenal player. He's like having a team of the season player at this stage in the game. Very expensive, 1.2 million, far and away the most expensive card in my squad. But he is going to be the focal point of the team for the near future, at least until I can upgrade to his prime version, if I can at all. But yeah, 1.265 I think was the version to get, or the amount to get a fresh version. There was a couple that had kind of come in that 1.2 range. But you guys know me, I like those fresh cards, so we ended up putting him to the team. Marcus Lorente, I packed him as well. And I decided to keep him just because Paul Pogba, as much as I love him in really tight games, I worry that he might be a little bit of a liability. So we're going to have Lorente come off the bench if we need him. So this is the way the squad is going to, not line up, but the way I'm just going to line them up in the team. And then we're going to switch to a 4-2-3-1. So Puskas is going to sit in behind what is now Benzema. Again, we'll get to that in the next video. But I have Timo Werner up top right now, / Karim Benzema eventually, the flashback version. Puskas is going to be in behind him. Jadon Sancho on the right. Rashford on the left. Very, very good card. Kante, that special version of Kante with Pogba in the middle. And then we've got informed David Alaba and Eder Militao in the middle. They're okay. They do the job. We've got Kyle Walker right back, and then we've got Ferland Mendy at left back with Iker Casillas' mid version in keeper. So this is going to be the squad that we're going to take into our next set of games in the next video. I'm really excited about the team. There's a couple guys on the bench too. Dybala is kind of like a cheap option. I love that Raheem Sterling. However, I can't really fit him. I would have to kind of move things around. And to me, Marcus Rashford is just as good. So I'm going to use Rashford for the time being. I think I had Lacroix in there. No, I had St. Juste as a backup center back. I haven't used him. I don't know how he'll do. And then I have those two not team of the group stage, road to the knockouts, I think is what they're called. So the Bernardo Silva and Rodrigo, we'll keep those around, see how they get upgraded, because I think both of those teams are pretty much going to go through Man City and Real Madrid. The Rodrigo, we ended up packing. He's untradeable, so he's just going to sit in the club. I'm just going to ride him until his upgrade. But the team is looking pretty good, guys. I'm pretty excited about this. I'm really excited to take Ferenc Puskas. I took him in one offline game just to try him out. He already feels he's a difference maker. And I think that this might be what I need to really get excited about this year's game. Is I just needed some guy to invest in to make me feel like I'm actually interested in building the team. Before, I didn't really have anybody. I thought it was going to be Jadon Sancho, but because of that moron, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he never played him, so he's got out of form. So I'm hoping Jadon Sancho can pick up some informs and get that card going, but Puskas is going to be the focal point. He is going to be the captain. And I'm really excited about where the team is at. And hopefully, as we head into Team of the Year, there'll be some more stuff. Even Cyber Monday. The rest of this weekend will be interesting. But that is going to be the end of the video, guys. I appreciate you guys sticking until the very end. If you could drop a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. If you're not already, please follow the channel. Until next time, guys, take care. Peace.